Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. The Jessie Lingard drama continues. Ralph Rangnick says he wanted Jessie Lingard in the Man United squad versus Middlesbrough. On Friday, Ralph Rangnick claimed that Jessie Lingard asked for some time off. But Lingard hit back at Ralph Rangnick and denied this. He said his headspace is clear, and Lingard also said that the club advised him to have time off due to personal reasons. So the Lingard situation is exactly the same as the Martial situation last year. Because obviously Rangnick said they both refused to play, but they didn't. Jessie Lingard should have left Manchester United last month, but Manchester United blocked his exit. It was Newcastle and West Ham that were trying to get Lingard on loan. Don't forget Newcastle were willing to pay a £3 million loan fee for Lingard, plus a further £4 million survival bonus. At the second half of last season, Lingard endured a 4-month loan spell with West Ham and he made an impact. Last month, Lingard rejected an approach from Everton. Lingard has been part of the football club for a long time. He is in our academy in that, but he doesn't get in our team. His contract at Manchester United expires in the summer. I'm expecting Lingard to leave Man United in the summer. Now, I just want to give you some news on Anthony Elanga. So, Anthony Elanga has been racially abused after his penalty miss in the FA Cup. Anthony Elanga did come on in the game yesterday night. He had a couple of chances, and like I've just mentioned, he missed the decisive penalty. So he cost Manchester United. That was disappointing. You know, Anthony Elanga has actually done well since he broke into our first team squad. As mentioned before, he looks a very good asset for the first team. You know, before the international break, he played very well against West Ham. He scored in the 3-1 win against Brentford. That was his first goal of the season. He also did very well in the 2-2 draw against Aston Villa because he had some chances in that game. Anthony Elanga has been part of the club for a long time. He risen up our academy in that. He joined Manchester United's academy at the age of 12. And he's the age of 19. Towards the end of last season, Elanga signed a contract with Man United until June 2026. There's an option of a further year. But yeah, yesterday night, Manchester United were knocked out of the FA Cup 4th round by Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough won 8-7 on penalties, and it was 1-1 after extra time. Ralph Rangnick gave his perception on the game. He said Manchester United only have themselves to blame after the FA Cup exit. Rangnick pinpointed the chances that Manchester United had, especially in that first half. Obviously, Ronaldo had chances. One of his chances was an overhead kick. Ronaldo also missed a penalty in normal time. Rashford, he also had some chances. He also had a goal ruled out for offside. Bruno Fernandes, he had some chances in the game. The best chance he had is when he hit the post. Sancho had a chance in 90 seconds, he hit the crossbar. Manchester United had around 30 shots in the game. Manchester United's goal came from Jadon Sancho. That was his first Old Trafford goal, and he scored on his FA Cup debut. It was a good goal from Jadon Sancho. I think it got a slight deflection. Sancho enjoyed a very good game. It's probably the best game he's enjoyed so far as a Manchester United player. It was Bruno Fernandes that got the assist for the Sancho goal. It was a lovely, precise ball from Bruno Fernandes to pick out Jadon Sancho. Middlesbrough's goal came from Matt Crooks, but the Middlesbrough goal was controversial because in the build-up to the Matt Crooks goal, Duncan Watmore handballed it. For me, the goal shouldn't have stood. I was surprised Duncan Watmore didn't get penalised. I think it was an accidental handball. So yeah, it's going to be another trophyless season for Manchester United. The only trophy we can win now this season is the Champions League, and I'm very sceptical we're going to win that. I mentioned, didn't I, that the FA Cup was the only chance of Man United winning the trophy this season. Manchester United have not won the FA Cup since 2016. We've won the FA Cup 12 times. Manchester United have not won a trophy for 5 years. That's nowhere near good enough to our standards. And you've got to say now, Ralph Rangnick is under pressure. Rangnick has managed 11 games in all competitions so far as Man United's interim manager. He's had 2 defeats. He's been Manchester United's interim manager for 2 months. Said Rangnick is Man United's interim manager until the end of the season. Then he said Rangnick is expected to take up a consultancy role for a further 2 years. There's been good performances under Rangnick. There's also been poor performances as well. Revert back to earlier on this season, there was reports coming out saying that Rangnick was already losing the dressing room at Man United, and it did mention that 17 Manchester United players were unhappy and wanted to leave. At that point, Rangnick was promised that he was going to be backed in the transfer window, but he wasn't backed in the January transfer window by the Glazers. Revert back to a few weeks ago, it actually said that Manchester United had put their search for a new manager on hold after being impressed by Ralph Rangnick since he took charge in December, and it actually said that Man United were considering offering Rangnick the job on a permanent basis. Before Manchester United, Rangnick was the head of sports and development at Lokomotiv Moscow. To Rangnick's credit, he has made changes since he's come in. Earlier on this season, he recommended Ewan Sharp in as an assistant coach and analyst. He also brought Chris Armas in as an assistant coach, and he recommended Sascha Lenzin as a sports psychologist. And Manchester United changed formation under Rangnick. It's said that the 4-2-2 formation got scrapped because obviously that formation wasn't working. I think there's a very good chance that Mauricio Pochettino will be Manchester United's next permanent manager. Pochettino is Manchester United's number one choice to become the next permanent manager. Pochettino has reportedly told his friends he will be leaving PSG in the summer. Reports from France said earlier on this week that Pochettino could be sacked by March. Pochettino's job hinges on PSG getting to the next round of the Champions League. PSG play Real Madrid in the last 16 of the Champions League. Not so long ago, PSG got knocked out of the French Cup by Nice, so that put more pressure on Pochettino. PSG are looking at Zidane as a replacement for Pochettino. Earlier on this season, he said PSG had agreed terms with Zidane. I reckon Pochettino would be the right manager for Man United because I reckon he'd suit the strappings of the club and he would get the best out of these group of players. Plus, he's proven in the Premier League, which is beneficial. Before, Pochettino endured a 5.5-year managerial tenure at Tottenham. Back in 2018, he got Tottenham to their first ever Champions League final, and at one point he almost won the league when he was Tottenham manager. And before Tottenham managed Southampton, he only enjoyed a short managerial tenure at Southampton, but he still managed to guide Southampton to their highest ever finish in the Premier League. So they're the clubs he's managed in the Premier League so far, and before Southampton, he managed Espanyol. Pochettino's been PSG's manager for over a year. I think he's won a French Cup with them. His contract at PSG expires next year. Revert back to when Manchester United sacked Jose Mourinho. Manchester United should have got Pochettino then, but the club decided to go with Solskjaer instead. Erik ten Hag, he's been linked with a permanent role at Man United. A few weeks ago, Rangnick said he would like Erik ten Hag to become Man United's new permanent manager in the summer. And he said Man United fans want Erik ten Hag to take the Old Trafford job instead of Mauricio Pochettino. He's a good manager, Erik ten Hag. You've got to admire the work he's done at Ajax. He's developed the young players well. He's won a couple of titles with them. Revert back to 2019, he got Ajax to the Champions League semi-finals. So there you go. He's been Ajax manager for over 4 years. Ajax appointed him in back in 2017. His contract at Ajax expires next year. Ajax is the 4th club he's managing in his managerial career because before Ajax he managed Utrecht, before then he managed Bayern Munich's reserves, and before then he managed Go Ahead Eagles. Manchester United are looking for the 5th permanent manager since Ferguson retired. Manchester United have sacked 4 permanent managers. He sacked David Moyes after 10 months. Then Manchester United sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years despite us winning the FA Cup under him. Then Man United sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years. Mourinho did enjoy one good season at Man United because he won 3 trophies in his first season. But the reasons it didn't work out under Mourinho is because he had bad disputes with the board, because the board didn't recommend the players he wanted to get in. And he had bad disputes with the top players. And last year, Manchester United sacked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer after almost 3 years in charge. Nothing much has changed at Man United, despite us sacking 4 managers since Ferguson. Not so long ago, Ed Woodward stepped down. That was good news from a Manchester United perspective because Woodward was one of the biggest issues at the club for a long time. Ed Woodward was at Manchester United for 17 years. Richard Arnold is Manchester United's new chief executive. The Glazers, they've owned Manchester United for around 16.5 years. They bought the club for 500 million back in 2005. And they've been one of the biggest issues at the club for a long time. Revert back to April last year, Manchester United fans protested against the Glazers because the Glazers were planning to scrap the Champions League for that European Super League. But in the end, the Glazers ended up apologising. Well, that's what Solskjaer mentioned at the time. Manchester United endured a very disappointing January transfer window. Last month, Manchester United did not make any signings. And Manchester United wanted to sign a midfielder because when Rangnick came in, he identified Manchester United's midfield as a weakness. Lingard and Henderson should have left last month, but they didn't. Like I mentioned, Manchester United blocked their exits. We had the incident with Mason Greenwood towards the end of the January transfer window. There again though, Manchester United loaned quite a few players out last month. We loaned Donny van der Beek out to Everton. We loaned Amad Diallo out to Rangers. We loaned Martial out to Sevilla. We loaned Ethan Laird out. Tuan Zebe went out on loan to Napoli. Tiden Mengi went out on loan to Birmingham. So I think we let around 8 players leave last month. So yeah, Rangnick's endured one transfer window as Manchester United's interim manager. Manchester United endured a good transfer window last summer because Man United made 4 signings and 3 of the 4 signings were major signings. Last summer, Man United spent around £141 million. In the summer, I'm expecting Manchester United to make some signings. There's a lot of players Man United have been linked with. Obviously, Declan Rice has been a long-term target for Man United. It said not so long ago that West Ham are braced for Declan Rice bids. The Telegraph mentioned that the Premier League's top clubs are eyeing a move for Declan Rice in the summer. That's Man United, Man City and Chelsea. West Ham value Declan Rice at £100 million. Amadou Aidara have also been linked with him. Revert back to last month, Man United were in for him, and obviously Rangnick did say that he wanted Amadou Aidara as his first signing as Man United manager. Obviously Rangnick knows the player well, which is beneficial. Last month as well, Man United were relentlessly linked with Denis Zakaria. Towards the end of the January transfer window, we tried to get Boubacar Kamara from Marseille. On deadline day, Man United went in for Yves Bissouma from Brighton. So there you go. In the summer as well, I'm expecting a lot of players to depart the club. So in the summer, I reckon Dean Henderson will leave. Like I mentioned earlier on in the video, he should have left last month. Henderson was in goal yesterday for the game against Middlesbrough in the Cup. Didn't really have much to do. He made a couple of good saves. He made a good save to deny Matt Crooks in the second half, and he made a good save to deny Aaron Connolly from close range in extra time. That was Henderson's third appearance of this season. Henderson doesn't get in goal much because revert back to last summer, De Gea reclaimed that number one spot back. Earlier on this season, Henderson had COVID for a while. Towards the end of last season though, Henderson actually got that number one jersey and he did well in a lot of the games he was in goal for last season, to his credit. Henderson's got that experience behind him because he endured 2 successful loans with Sheffield. He's also had other loan spells before with Stockport, Grimsby and Shrewsbury. Henderson's under contract with Man United until 2025. There's an option of a further year. Obviously, he signed that new long-term contract before the start of last season. He regrets signing that new long-term contract. Man United will look to sell Harry Maguire and Aaron Wan-Bissaka in the summer because quite clearly they're not good enough to represent the club. Jones, he'll also leave in the summer. I wanted him to leave last month. Don't forget Fabrizio Romano did say on deadline day that Phil Jones rejected a loan move to Bordeaux. Man United and Bordeaux had actually reached an agreement for Phil Jones to go to Bordeaux in order to get more playing time. And reports from France said that Phil Jones' talks were at final stages, but Rangnick said he was happy for Phil Jones to stay. Jones's contract at Manchester United expires next year. He came on in the game yesterday against Middlesbrough. Phil Jones is only the outfield player that's still with us from the Ferguson era. This season is his 11th season at Manchester United. He played in the 1-0 defeat to Wolves at Old Trafford earlier on this season. And he was our best performer in that game. That was his first Premier League appearance since January 2020. At one point, Jones was out with a knee injury for a while. Eric Bailly, he'll also leave the club in the summer because he doesn't really get in the team. Bailly lost his place in the team a while ago, obviously with Man United signing Varane last summer, and for some reason Victor Lindelof has been preferred to Bailly. Don't ask me why, because Bailly is a far superior centre-half to Lindelof. My element of concern about Bailly is injury prone. Didn't play any part yesterday against Middlesbrough because he's recently picked up another injury. He was at the African Cup of Nations not so long ago. The last game Bailly played was the 3-1 win against Burnley in the final game of last year, but he came off injured in that one. Revert back to last month, Damasio actually said that Bailly agreed to join AC Milan on loan, and it did mention that Bailly was extremely interested in a move to Italy. Back in April of last year, Bailly signed a new contract with Man United till 2024. Manchester United paid £30 million for Eric Bailly from Villarreal. Got him back in 2016, brought him in under the Jose Mourinho era. Bailly's been at Man United over 5 years now. Do you think Tellez will leave in the summer? I hope Tellez doesn't leave in the summer because I think Tellez has been very impressive under Rangnick. He's our first choice left back under Rangnick. He didn't play yesterday, Tellez. Was it due to injury? So obviously Luke Shaw played ahead of him. The reason Man United brought Alex Telles in was to provide competition for Shaw. Man United got Telles from Porto back in 2020. We got him for 15.4 million. Paul Pogba, I reckon he'll leave in the summer if Rangnick does not get the job on a permanent basis. But it did say, didn't it, not so long ago, that Pogba is willing to stay at Man United if Ralph Rangnick is the manager for next season. Because Pogba said he's been impressed by Ralph Rangnick since he took charge. And he said Pogba would be open to signing a new contract. He's out of contract at Man United in the summer. Was it a couple of months ago? The Sun said that Manchester United offered Paul Pogba a new £500,000 a week contract. That would have made Pogba the highest paid player in Premier League history, but Pogba came out and denied that he'd been offered that contract. Matic, he'll also leave the club in the summer. Matic is out of contract at Man United in the summer. Matic isn't one of our first choice midfielders, but despite that, he still seems to get his opportunities, and he's the only predominant centre defensive mid Man United have got. I've always had my reservations about Matic because he's always been a static midfielder, plus he's aging up, but despite that, he's had his good games at Man United. Matic has been at the club for over 4 years. Manchester United got Matic from Chelsea back in 2017, got him for £40 million. Jessie Lingard, he'll leave in the summer. Juan Mata, he'll leave in the summer as well. And Cavani, he'll also leave in the summer. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you with. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel if you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon.